Hello everyone, I'm glad to present my research project titled The Human Factor in the Age of Automation, a qualitative story on how artificial intelligence affects English-Spanish translation internships. So to start with, we all know that translations software is growing incredibly fast nowadays. Because of this, many companies are deciding to stop opening entry-level positions and internships for language students. The main reason behind this decision is that managers believe automated tools are more than enough to handle translation and editing tasks without hiring a person. That is why the main goal of this project is to describe how this shift affect our opportunities to get real work practice, and also to explain why the human eye is still absolutely necessary in the process. So, to give you some background, I use two different perspectives to analyze what is happening in the industry. First of all, we have Bowker 2020, who explains that while this technology is very attractive because of its speed, it doesn't truly understand culture or local expression. As a result, relying only on software creates a false sense of security for companies. On the other hand, we have Kirali 2014, who reminds us that translation is a social and collaborative activity. Therefore, when companies close their doors to interns, they break the natural process of learning and confidence building. In addition, we have Hurtado Albiri 2015, who points out that tools are great assistants, but they don't have strategic thinking, while Pim 2011 emphasized that translation always requires an ethical responsibility that algorithms simply cannot simulate. Now the methodology, moving on to the methodology, I want to clarify how this study was built. First of all, this project sits within the qualitative and interpretive paradigm. This means I didn't use a statistic or percentage because the conflict between students and artificial intelligence cannot be understood through numbers. Instead, we wanted to see how advanced students interpret their own value. Regarding the design, this is an exploratory and descriptive study. I worked with a specific group of final semester modern language students, who are currently looking for their mandatory internships. To get their honest opinions, I designed an open-ended questionnaire. Thanks to this approach, the participants had complete freedom to express their feelings, stress, or ideas using their own vocabulary. Then I use thematic context analysis to organize their answers into specific labels. Now let's move on to results and discussion. The first theme is about emotional impact and corporate decision. Now it's important, stop here and take a closer look at the result, because we found exactly why students are feeling this way. Regarding to the first question, how a student feels about their future, the data shows that they feel professional anxiety, but the reason is that they feel the job market is closing its door before they even start. The data, for instance, one's classmates say that finding a job will be much harder than I thought. This anxiety happened because a student realized that without internships they cannot access professional skills, glossaries, and translation memories that only companies own. In other words, the anxiety comes from the fear of not being able to build the professional experience that Kirali actually says is necessary. Now we have a corporate view. Also, participants understand that companies choose AI to save money and reduce cost. However, they feel frustrated because companies are cutting out the human filter entirely. This match very well with Barker 2020 says that companies focus so much on speed and saving money that they ignore the fact that software make mistakes that only a person can catch. And regarding to the second question, which was about human skills, all participants agreed that the human side is irreplaceable. One student actually explained that AI is good for normal things, but it struggles to do it in informal contexts where tone and body language matter. The reason we are still better than machines is because software works with rules and math, but it cannot feel the intention of an author or the feelings of a community. As PIN 2011 says, machines translate words, but humans negotiate the meaning. It's important to add to this that a student feels that decision making is our biggest advantage. This confirms which Hurtado Alvir's 2015 view. A machine can generate text, but it cannot make a strategic choice, take responsibility for an error, or bring originality to a text. So, based on these findings, I propose 3 recommendations. First, for a university, we need to update our programs to include machine translation literacy and train the students to become expert post editors. For a student, we shouldn't fight against technology. Instead, we need to focus on developing our creative and cultural skills like local idioms and specialized areas. For company, my recommendations is that managers must understand that a well-written prompt is simply not enough. Software cannot double-check. Imagine that if a text is actually correct, respectful, or natural, keeping a human proofreader is the only way to avoid costly mistake. So guys, wrapping up, this study allows us to draw three final conclusions. First, replacing entry-level roles with software is causing professional anxiety because students feel they are losing the only space they have to practice and learn. Second, students don't hate AI, they see it as a great assistant, but they reject the idea that it can do the whole job alone. And finally, cultural context and strategic choices are completely human skill. If company push away students today, there will be no expert translators tomorrow. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention.